The Retirement Cafe podcast, volunteering at the food bank with Tracy Blick.
Retired or thinking about retirement? You've come to the right place. Welcome to the Retirement Cafe podcast. In each episode, we bring you an important conversation with insight, tips and knowledge, all designed to help you live a fulfilling and successful life in retirement. Here's your host, Chartered Financial Planner and accredited later life advisor, Justin King.
Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Retirement Cafe podcast, which is kindly sponsored by My Financial Planner. Not knowing when you can afford to retire or what your pensions, savings and investments will provide can be worrying. My Financial Planner provides independent, fixed-fee retirement planning advice, bringing clarity to your financial future. At My Financial Planner, we build a financial plan for your retirement and equip you with the knowledge to implement the plan and buy any products you need yourself. Find out more about getting a plan to fund the retirement that you really want at myfinancialplanner.co.uk. Tracy Blick is the Managing Projects Coordinator at Christchurch Food Bank Plus, where I live here in Christchurch, Dorset. The food bank helps people who find themselves in a crisis all of a sudden and cannot afford to buy food to feed their families. The demand since the coronavirus impact hit has been enormous. At 50, Tracy is the youngest amongst her team of 38 volunteers, so most are retired. We chat about the different roles the volunteers adopt, depending on their skills and experience, and why we should never underestimate the power of that first tin the volunteers hand to people in need. So, without further ado, I hope you enjoy my conversation with Tracy Blick. So, welcome to the podcast, Tracy Blick.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
I've been really looking forward to talking to you, Tracy. Now, for those who don't know you, tell all our listeners and our watchers where you work and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Tracy Blick, and I am the Managing Projects Coordinator at Christchurch Food Bank Plus in Christchurch. So we operate from St Joseph's Old Chapel, and we cover the whole of Christchurch Highcliffe, Branscore area.
Wow. Now, I know a little bit about Christchurch Food Bank, but some people might not, or some people might not even know what a food bank does. So can you tell me a little bit about maybe how Christchurch Food Bank came about, who it serves, and maybe the kind of the wider concept?
Yeah, so Christchurch Food Bank was set up nearly 10 years ago by Christchurch Fellowship of Churches. So that's 19 churches in Christchurch came together and realised that there was a need within the community because there were families and individuals that didn't have any food. So it started on a referral basis only. So you have to arrive with a voucher that you've been given by social services or your school, the Citizen Advice Bureau, adult learning, those sorts of people, family centres. And then you bring your voucher along and we exchange that voucher for between 3 and 5 days worth of food. And then we have a chat with you and we see how else we can help you. So that started about 10 years ago. I've been with the food bank. This is my 8th year we're just going into. And we now have many projects. So we have the food bank, and to help people, what we want to do is all those people that come to the food bank are in crisis need. And we want to help them on their journey so they don't have to come back for food. That's the idea. So we have a furniture bank. We have money and debt management. We have cookery workshops, homeless drop-in. We have lots going on. Yeah.
Wow. So why would someone need to, access your resources, the food bank resources? What kind of circumstances is it and people who become eligible for that?
Okay, so we are like I said earlier, we're crisis need. So that can be absolutely anybody. It's interesting when I go out and do talks to schools or groups and things, and I ask what type of people do you think come to the food bank? Everyone presumes it's poor people, but actually poor people are normally well catered for. It's normally people who their child is sick off of school and therefore mum can't work, or their work van breaks down and they need to use their food money to pay for that. So it's a crisis. It's where something has happened overnight that means they don't have the funds to actually buy food at that time. So we deal with a lot of domestic violence families, families who just struggle, and individuals who have had a bill come out that they didn't expect, or something happen in their life that just means they don't have that available cash to go and buy food.
Yeah. I can imagine that in this recent pandemic circumstances that we're suffering at the moment, that lots of people will have needed your services.
Yeah. So our actual figures of people coming in has gone up threefold. So we do a scheme called the Holiday Hunger Scheme. So this is for families whose children would normally get a breakfast and a hot meal at school. And in school holidays, they obviously have to provide that at home. And this year, as you know, we broke up for Easter and the children didn't go back to school till September. And we did 4,500 parcels in those 12, 13 weeks, which is just unbelievable amounts of food going in and out. So, and all our food is donated. So we are so blessed with the amount of people that donate as well. It's just been super busy. We've had something interesting is we've had people who, as long as I've been there, have donated, whether that's been cash or goods, who are now coming to the food bank for parcels because their job has finished and they've been told they're not being paid for the previous month, or both their jobs have just been furloughed, but furlough isn't enough to cover their outgoings. So it's a real turnaround from the different type of people we've had coming, and people are desperate. And I think the worst thing is we're seeing more and more people coming in tears who have the whole weight of the world on their shoulders, but we give them a little bit of hope. So they leave with hope that that's okay, we can feed our families and everything else will work itself out. But yes, super, super, super busy.
Now, I think, did you say 4,500 food parcels? Is that, now that takes, now surely you're not doing all of that, are you?
Well, not me. No, I am doing my fair share, trust me. But I have a team of 38 volunteers who are absolutely awesome. During COVID, we've had to reduce our volunteers into a tighter bubble because we're not letting clients into the food bank anymore. So we're just to protect everybody, both the clients and our volunteers. So the volunteers do all the packing, they do all the sorting. We have a meet and greet out the front. So when clients get there, they will chat to them and ask them how else we can help. Can any of our other services that we have benefit them to stop them coming back? Or if they just need food, we give them their parcel of food, but we're also being able, due to funding, to give fresh fruit and veg, which is just, really amazing and really great for these foods as well. And the 4,500 parcels were just school holiday hunger families. So outside of that, we're having normal parcels for people who don't have children or who have lost their jobs, or something has just happened and they have to come for food. So on top of those holiday hunger, we've done probably another 1,500. So we're looking more sort of 6,000 parcels, which is normally how many we do a year. And now we've done that in these last 12 weeks.
So 38 volunteers. Tell me about who they are and the type of people that obviously are so dedicated to give it their time.
Okay, so I was 50 a couple of weeks ago, and I am one of the youngest at the food bank. So the majority of our volunteers are retired. They are retired nurses, head teachers, they're retired engineers. They're people who, I know, like my mum always says, she's never been so busy than when she retired. So we have people that come in, and some of them will do 2 hours a month. Some will do a slot every single week. Others will want to do every single shift that we are open, which is great. And so they come in and they have different roles depending on what their gifts are. So some just want to do packing. They don't really want to talk to outside people. They just want to pack and help. Others want to sort donations. Some have a real gift and empathy for people. So they are our people meters. So they will meet the people and have a chat with them. And actually, because they're retired, they have a world full of knowledge. So there's always someone at the food bank that knows how they can help the clients that come in a different way or outside the box. And I think what's so wonderful about them all is they have a real lovely heart anyway, and they're all wonderful. My whole team is lovely together. But they see the end of people's journeys. So very often when I go out and talk, I say, please give your tin, but never underestimate the power of your tin, because the tin is the start of these people's journeys. And our volunteers get to see our clients on the whole of their journey till they get to a point where they can go off on their own. And it's quite emotional. So we have a young man, who was sofa surfing. His mum had died, sadly, and he'd left his dad a long time ago. And he was sofa surfing, and he comes in just for a few tins that he can eat cold. We started doing a little bit of his washing, and then giving him some of the volunteers would bring him in a hot meal. And we then started to work with him to get a place of his own. Well, we moved him in to a place of his own, which was wonderful. And then our furniture bank furnished it and gave him everything that he needed. And he still calls down. Well, now what he says each time he calls in is, "This is my family." And these are the volunteers who have become his family. And last week he started his job. So he'd started his job. They arranged his work shoes and his work clothes. They keep saying to him, "Come in on a Thursday," because he has a Thursday off, so that he can update them on how he's going, because they feel like he's part of their family too. So most of us stand there in tears as these young people are really going off and just being given a break, which everybody needs. So that is so rewarding, and you carry those stories with you, and you tell other clients of those stories, which gives them hope when they're moving forward on their journey too.
Yeah, amazing. And then you mentioned also that sometimes you've got to help rehouse vulnerable people. I mean, I presume the local council may do some work for there. What's your relationship with the council and people being rehomed, and what are you providing that maybe they're not getting from the local authority?
Okay, so we have 84 referrals across Christchurch, and the council are one of those, and Sovereign Housing and lots of other housing associations. So when they get a family from domestic violence, or they get somebody that's rehoused from temporary housing, they literally give them the property. We do go for appointments, so we have some of our volunteers that will go for appointments just to make sure they're getting all the correct information. So they get a house, but they get given the keys and the property is empty. So at that point, we get together, we go in, we give them all the furniture that they need, and we give them bedding and cups and plates and cutlery and those sorts of things. And that's all donated as well. So it works really well on a let's giving, caring, sharing type of thing. So we help them with that. We move them in. And then we've got a team who have been ex-accountants or ex-working for the CAB, that sort of thing, before they retired. And they will help them and remind them that their rent is due this week, that these bills need setting up. And they also write shopping lists. So they give shopping lists to help them shop properly, which means they manage their money better. So things like that. That's what I mean by the wealth of experience that life has taught them along the way, that I don't necessarily have all of that. And we also have a few of our volunteers who make up recipe cards and do meals in a bag and things that they can help them with making recipes and making dinners that they've already tried and tested. So it's awesome.
Great, fantastic. Now, so I can imagine our retired audience could be thinking about lots of ways that they could help maybe their local food bank. First of all, how do they find out? I've got so many questions. How would they find out who their local food bank is if they're not in the Christchurch area, of course? And then what are the top things that you feel that, if you had a magic fairy dust that you could magic up tomorrow that you need? Is it more parcels? Is it more furniture? Is it more cash? What is it that you particularly need as in your organisation?
Okay, so Christchurch Food Bank is an independent food bank. So we have Christchurch, Poole, Blandford and Wimborne, and they're independent. Now, all over the country, we have trust food banks. So if you tap in local food bank with your postcode, it will come up with your local food bank. But we all work on the same sort of premise. So we all have donations come in, we all pack parcels and we give out food. And the majority of food banks, apart from one in Brighton, you can't just queue up outside. You have to be referred, so you have to have a voucher. So we all work the same. All food banks are always short of tinned fruit, tinned vegetables, tinned meat, because that's our main staple for all our parcels. Christchurch Food Bank is one of the very few Christchurch Food Bank Pluses, and our plus is obviously the furniture bank and the money management, etc. But there are a few. So whether it's Christchurch or not, you can find out from your local food bank what other services they offer. And then it's great if you've got an allotment. You can bring in fresh fruit and veg off your allotment, because as we know, if you grow a tomato plant, you end up with 1 million tomatoes. So we have loads of tomatoes and cabbage and lettuce and cauliflower that come in. All food banks take that. All food banks need money to keep their projects going, for things, the extra things like nappies, baby milk, sanitary products, toiletries, all those sorts of things that aren't normally included in your food bank boxes. So there's always that. But yeah, just search food bank with your postcode and it will come up. And they're always really willing to help you, whether you want to volunteer or whether you want to donate money or whether you want to donate goods. They're always there to help because together we can do it. Whereas if we don't have donations, I don't know what we do. So yeah.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Well, Tracy, it's been fascinating chatting to you this morning. I really appreciate your time. Where can people find out more about maybe volunteering with you or helping you out in some way, maybe with donations with food or cash or what have you? Where do people find out more about you and your great work?
Okay, so you can look us up on Facebook. Everyone has Facebook, I think, now. Facebook, which is Christchurch Food Bank. You can email christchurchfoodbank@gmail.com. Quite simple. That comes to me and I can give you any information that you need. As far as donating, it's the same process. Look on Facebook or look us up on our website. We partner with FaithWorks, who oversee all our policies and procedures. And if you go onto their website, the FaithWorks website, that covers the Blandford, Wimborne, Poole and Christchurch Food Bank. So you can see, depending on your area, which one you can help with. So yeah, all those. Or you can ring me. You just look up my number and then give me a ring.
Fantastic. Well, maybe the phone will be ringing off the hook. Who knows? But that's been wonderful. I thank you so much for the great work that you do for our community. It really, it really does make a difference. And I look forward to talking with you again soon.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. And thank you to the community of Christchurch because we couldn't do it without them.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you once again to Tracy for joining me on the podcast. If you'd like to find out more about Christchurch Food Bank Plus or food banks in your area, or even donate, check out the show notes on our website at theretirementcafe.co.uk, where you'll find some useful links. Until then, if you've enjoyed this episode, then please let your friends know all about the Retirement Cafe podcast. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts to help more people like you to discover us. It really does help. To get in touch, please email me on hello@theretirementcafe.co.uk or connect on Twitter at Justin King CFP. Thank you as always to my financial planner, the Fixed Fee Retirement Planning Specialist, for sponsoring the podcast. You can find out more about how they can help bring clarity to your retirement at myfinancialplanner.co.uk. So until next time, this is Justin King helping you feel more informed in your retirement.
Thank you for listening to the Retirement Cafe podcast with Justin King. To find out more, you can find us online at theretirementcafe.co.uk.